Hello, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We are Untitled Nerd Network. This is the newest episode. The August 16th, 2021 version. Edition, whatever you want to call it, of Roll for Intimacy. Today's special topics.
Sorry.
Today's topics are going to be sexual misconceptions, which is basically stuff that people believe about sex and the human body that really aren't true, and Threeways, which I guess would probably count as like group sex too. I guess like all the above, you know.
Yeah.
But really, I think Threeways in this particular instance, if I had to just put a definite, like just a solid definition on it, would be when you have like a couple who wants to bring in a third.
Mary and James.
Hey there, Mary and James are both on Facebook. We are giving a solid simulcast across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube tonight. So if you are in the chat and you're watching, or if you have any questions, whether related to what we're talking about or not, feel free to drop a message in the chat or call in at 423-509-8409. Is that the right?
I don't know.
Sorry, my eyes are kind of dried out.
Mine
It's
are too.
difficult to read the screen.
It does look. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at it on my phone. Yeah, it is 8409.
Boy, this is going to be a long night. I cannot. Like, okay, just so everybody knows. Okay, I'm deaf in my left ear. I'm wearing headphones. My right ear this week has gotten to the point where it's gotten like clogged, and I've been trying to use peroxide and stuff to clear it out, and it's helped a little bit, but to the point where unless Amber really speaks up, I don't hear what she says, and pretty much every, like the last 2 or 3 sentences that she said, I have no clue.
James sent us
But I'm
stars.
doing my
Did you
best
hear
to
that?
listen.
James sent us stars.
Thank you, James.
There you go.
Why am I not seeing that on here?
It don't show it on there. You have to.
No, it does. It shows us on our little notification mini feed. But for whatever weird reason, it hasn't popped up. I bet it will. It's just delayed.
Probably.
See? Because now we're getting that Mary liked it. And so, hello, Derek, over on Facebook. I'm going to try my best to acknowledge every single person that comes on here today. And keep in mind that you can pop in, say hello, call in if you have a question or anything. Like I said, let's keep it serious. We're doing this like, sex talk with a nerd twist. But also, we are here to, throw the stuff out there and educate. Stuff like that. So, I do need, like, as always, I do need to throw out a disclaimer that we are not licensed sex therapists. We are not licensed medical professionals. We are just some people who have kind of, know the ropes and want to, share the knowledge and, kind of give you our opinions and advice and stuff like that. Today's specific, hello, Chairman, over on YouTube, by the way.
Yep.
This sexual misconceptions. We are utilizing an article from the Centers for Sexuality in Canada. This is a Canadian article from a Canadian website. And after I've already gone over this and checked it out, and they really seem like they know what they're talking about. So it definitely sounds like a good solid article. It's going to give us a lot of insight and some stuff. So there's a lot of stuff on here that I had already thought about last week. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of sexual misconceptions, things that people believe that actually aren't true, and God, a whole ton of them just revolve around a woman's body. That's
Right.
like straight up. Apparently the vagina is the most mysterious thing in the universe.
It just sounds about right.
God. It's like, Tony Stark's over there inventing time travel, and they're like, well, could you explain this about the vagina and the clitoris? And he's like, oh, no, out of my expertise.
Right.
That actually does sound like something he would say, too.
He's like, that is not my expertise.
Oh, so where do we begin?
I know, right?
Again, this article is from the Center for Sexuality.ca, and the article is Sex Myths, the Truth About Sex. Okay, now here we go. The first one, I guess we'll probably cover all these, time permitting. The number one is a bigger penis better. And that goes really... Number one, I think that's more of a personal choice. Mm-hmm. Like, we've shared that meme before that is the sisters from Frozen. And it's like the two reactions to a big dick. And one of them like has this it's like, really, yeah!
Yeah.
And the other one's like scared.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Like, here's the thing. A lot of men, I guess, strive to have a larger penis. Like, 12 inches, whatever. You get 12 inches near, I'm going to say more than half of women. I figure a lot of women have either they're scared to try it, they have tried it and liked it, or they have tried it and have sworn never again.
Right.
Because I've heard stories all the way around.
It's
hey,
Sharon.
Simply Miss Neo. Speaking of.
Yes. Stop.
Today is her birthday.
Today is Sharon's birthday.
She's what, 22? 23?
I think so. Just above drinking age.
I found out. But happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Sharon.
Oh, I'm going to
I broke up with a guy because he was too big and it was just not compatible. And I've heard that from some people. I've heard from
I thought you and Neil were still together.
That they were like, it was too big. I did not like it.
I've heard of some that were too small too. Like, here's the thing.
23 plus 10, she said.
I'm one of the things, and like, I'll go ahead and tell you, like, I've been with one dude in my life in that way, like, penetration wise, and I'll go ahead and tell you, there's no way in the world I would go for a big guy. Hell no. Big penises, nope. About an average of 6 inches is plenty enough. I mean, I guess you could work up to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dilator kit or something.
Practice, I guess. Well, what does the saying go? Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, like, I've heard of, some women that, just look at a penis with a lot of girth on it or length or whatever, and they're like, this isn't going to work. So, I mean, be careful what you wish for. Oh, yes, too small, been there, done that. There are ways around size, but if the attitude isn't right, then it isn't worth it, small or large.
That's fair.
I figure you could probably work your way around a small penis, like, there's ways to...
It's like Sharon said, if they got a rotten attitude, it's like, oh, you got a rotten attitude and a small penis? Lower your voice when you talk to me, please.
It's like, I hope you have a joke book.
Right. Fucking A.
Next up, this is probably the most prevalent myth in my life that I've ever run across. Vaginas are tight or loose, depending on the amount of sex a person has had. Now, here's the thing. I have seen some vaginas in my time.
Have you not?
Some labia, and both in porn and in real life. And I'll go ahead and tell you, there are some, like, a lot of people, especially men, will look at the women with like larger labia or the kind of flower shaped or stuff like that, and they're like, oh, she's been with a lot of guys. That's a loose pussy. Like, no.
Yeah, that's what they do. They use it for insult.
Yeah.
And it's a dumb insult because it's not true.
And the number one thing, and I don't want to like send people away to look at porn, but look at Lisa Sparks. Like, look her up. Just look up Lisa Sparks nude. And this woman has I guess what I would call the aesthetically pleasing vagina that a lot of guys would be like, oh yeah, she's, that's a good tight one, one that isn't, quote unquote, flappy or whatever they might say. Like, she has what would be considered, if somebody were to just look at her and not know anything, like a small, tight vaginal opening. Lisa Sparks is an adult star who holds the world record for sex with most men in one day at 919 different men.
Wow.
And if that woman does not have that quote unquote loose vagina look, nobody does. Because that was just 919 in a day. She's bedded well over 2,000 men in her lifetime. And of course, Sharon says money helps too. I'm sure it does help. Money would help me. Like, I would,
that only goes so far.
I would gladly take on a sugar mama that I didn't wholly find attractive for money.
I'd have to be pretty desperate, honestly.
There's a limit. Well, I guess the higher the amount of money, the lower the standards go. I'm just like that.
Oh, I know you are.
I mean,
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'll gladly have some unattached sex with somebody. I'm just, it'd be, you only live once, I hope someone watches my videos someday. That's what they take away from it. Videos. Anyway. Let Amber take over now.
Okay. Anyway. Next one.
Next
Sex
one.
Is painful.
I don't even know about this. Like, I saw on a documentary a long time ago that this was like on the Learning Channel. It was like a sex documentary. And they said that when a man orgasms, that his brain, he feels pain. And I was like, it's really intense, but I've never felt pain from an orgasm. Like, that might be what you call it, like when you orgasm and she just keeps on jerking it, and you're like, ah!
Well, yeah,
you're like
that,
scratching the walls and shit.
Drive you up the wall in the wrong way.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, 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 stop. That's where you're like swinging your limbs and stuff, trying to get away. But I've never really heard, like, maybe sex is painful for like women, like the first time intercourse, and that does happen.
It even says right here that it's not supposed to be even your first time, and that's fair. It's not supposed to be painful. It might be a little uncomfortable, but it's not supposed to be painful. If it is, you're not doing something right. You're either uptight, nervous about it, and you're tense, or you need some lube.
So, like, even like when I was in high school, a lot of so maybe that's something that I'm not 100% sure of, because I actually was with a woman who was a virgin while I was in high school, and she had a bit of pain the first time.
I don't know, maybe every vagina is different. I personally did not experience pain the first time I had sex.
Okay. I mean, I didn't either, but...
Well, obviously.
If you were just watching someone get off and had never experienced it, you might assume it hurts. That's a good
True.
point. Some of the noises and stuff that people make.
That's true.
Their O face. Okay, next myth. Everyone is having sex. And it seems that way, especially when you get around us.
It does seem that way, and like media portrays it that way, but like that's really not true. First of all, being asexual is a thing.
Yep.
Second, sex isn't always important to everybody. Some people are, it's just not that important to. They may not even be asexual. It's just not high on the priority list.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting to me because of how like hypersexual I am. It is. And like I understand that some people don't, it's just not their thing, and that's just so difficult for me to comprehend. Like it is. It's like it's almost
really
like
difficult for me to comprehend, and then I just
it's like me trying to understand infinity.
I started running into it more often in poly groups and queer spaces. It became normalized to me.
Yeah.
Is what it was. But when I first heard of it, I thought, what the fuck's wrong with them? Like, but then I also think sometimes, well, what the fuck's wrong with me? Because I'm, like, borderline hypersexual.
Yeah.
So, it goes both ways, I guess.
Here is a kind of like a multi-part. Okay, these are like myths that say you can't get pregnant if this or that. And these are, you can't get pregnant if you were on your period at the time, if it's your first time having sex, if you use the pull-out method, if you were in certain positions. I've never heard that one.
Oh, I have.
Or by rinsing with water after using a douche. I've actually heard of, peeing after sex, causes pregnancy not to happen, even though that is...
Oh, that prevents UTIs is what that's for.
Yeah. But a lot of people think that it's due to, pregnancy scares.
Alright, Sharon says, I think sex is like a type of love language.
Absolutely.
Some people rank it high and some low. It can also change over time and with different life events. I have gone from must have it 6 times a day to no sex for years without issue and back again. She says she has 2 kids from the pull-out method.
Yeah.
That is, I don't know the statistics now, but used to, like, the pull-out method was only, like, 70% effective,
Yeah, I actually have some exes that have gotten pregnant on the pull-out method, like, right after they... Like, I actually have an ex who cheated on me with another guy, broke up with me, and then later was telling me, oh, we're being safe, we're using the pull-out method. And about a month later, she was pregnant. And I was like...
I got lucky, and I did use the pull-out method for a while. For a couple of years.
She was on birth control.
But I had it down to a science.
Yeah.
Like, I knew. I knew when it was time to pull out. Well, Sharon says she was on birth control too.
I've heard of like birth control babies.
Well, there's some people that they're fertile myrtle is what they are. It doesn't matter. Like, I had a friend who had a sister who was on birth control and using condoms and still got pregnant.
Phew.
Team
vasectomy for the win.
That was one surefire way.
This is a massive human rights issue, but there was actually a misconception going around. It may even still be. I know they've done a lot to eradicate it, but for a while, I think they've done some work on it. But for a while, the AIDS epidemic was just running rampant through Africa, and people were so uneducated about it that they actually, it was almost the gospel truth to a lot of people in that area that if you had sex with a virgin, that it would cure AIDS.
Oh my God.
And so there were so many
So
men
ignorant.
having sex with virgin women, infecting them, and it was just causing the problem to just escalate. And yeah, no more babies. Like I'm right there. I'm like, heck yeah, that's I swear that vasectomy is like the best thing that I've ever. That'll probably be birth control methods would be a fantastic topic in the future. You know, that vasectomy is going to be right up there, because I think it's like 1 out of 100,000 or something that fail that way. It's like easily the most. Well, aside that is the easiest thing that a man can do to avoid getting someone pregnant.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, granted, a woman is not going to get pregnant if she gets everything removed, a hysterectomy and all that. Obviously,
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
That's a lot harder on a woman than a guy getting a vasectomy.
Oh yeah, I 48 hours, I was doing pretty good after. I mean, I could still walk around. I look like an old man hunched over whenever I had to walk around for the first day.
Yeah.
Because once that numbness went away,
Oh,
I was
God.
like, I couldn't stand up straight.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh. But, I mean, all in all, 2 days of mild discomfort and having to pop some over-the-counter pain medication was well worth the 10 years now of, being able to have condomless sex. It's, like, fantastic.
Sharon said she had one ovary, and the doctor said she had 0.1% chance of ever getting pregnant, and got pregnant the first time after that appointment. He's 3 now.
I remember that, because he was
Had
talking
vasectomy
about it.
as soon as he was born. Yeah.
I was, like, walking him through it. I mean, once you have, like, 23 kids, it's time.
Well, then, that's like Jordan. Jordan's got 3. They didn't think they were going to have any because her significant other only has 1 testicle. And she's another one that's fertile myrtle.
Oh, okay.
I was telling Lonnie before we started and we were reading over these. I actually conceived Joseph while I was on my period. Like, I was on the tail end of it. And, there's been some people to still say, hey, you can't get pregnant on your period. The hell I got living proof. You can't get pregnant on your period.
That's rough.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, I'll go ahead and tell you, if somebody handed Amber scissors and was like, here, no.
You wouldn't trust me to do that?
Nope.
I wouldn't trust me to do that either.
Hell no. I wouldn't trust anybody. I barely trusted my doctor to do it. I'm like, you're getting down there with a scalpel on my balls. We gotta... Oh, really quick. This is a fun story, and I've told you this a few times. During my vasectomy, I'm laying on my back, and I've... Like, the day before, they requested that I, like, shave down there. Like, I shave, like, my pubes. I shave everything on my testicles. Like, everything. Not a hair down there. And I said, okay. So, I came in the next day, and, I'm sitting there on my back. They've got me in, like, these, what do they call them? Stirrups. Mm-hmm. The things that they have your legs up like I'm about to give birth. And, I'm just on full display there. And the guy's, he's just got through numbing my testicles, And so he's getting ready to start the minor operation. And this woman walks in who was a nurse. And he was like, hey, come over here. Look here. He like points down between my legs. And he was like, he did a really good shave job, didn't he? And she looks and she's like, yeah, he did a fantastic shave job. He did a good job. And I'm like, look like a little snail that came out of its shell down there. I'm like, thanks.
You did a terrific shave job, Lonnie.
Nobody was allowed back in my operating room. I mean, it wasn't like an operating room per se.
Yeah.
It was like almost like an exam room, but all of his medical equipment was there. It was just a local anesthetic. Now, I will say, he gave me 2 shots in the testicles, like in the sack. And, he started doing an incision, the first incision, and I felt it a little bit. And I was like, whoa, 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 you need to. I could feel that. I was like, I can't really like feel the pain, but I can feel it. And he was like, okay, yeah, you're not supposed to feel anything. He was like, hold on, I'm going to get you one more time. The last shot that he gave me of that anesthetic felt like he shot liquid fire into my balls. It hurt, but after that, I didn't feel a single thing. And he did the full operation. I didn't get feeling back for about an hour and a half.
That's crazy.
Till my dad wanted to go eat at Shoney's. And then I had to get out of the car walking around like an 80-year-old man. All right, we're just going to make it into Shoney's here.
Oh my God.
I can't even tell you how bad it hurt to like get in and out of the booth. Or out of the car. Because we were in my mom's little Pontiac Sunfire. And it sits about 8 inches above the ground.
He just wanted to torture you, didn't he?
I don't think he realized what was going on.
Maybe. I don't know. The hell?
Okay.
Alright.
The next myth is virginity only applies to vaginal sex. Other kinds of sex don't count. And here's the thing. I think that really just depends. There's no concrete...
You give your opinion and I'm going to give mine.
Okay, I think virginity's bullshit to begin with. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a way to shame people from having premarital sex.
It is. That's basically my opinion.
I'm going to say, personally, you can give blowjobs and still be a virgin. But I think if anything goes into the vagina or the anus... Because I remember watching, what was it, like Maury Povich back in the 90s? Mm-hmm. Or early, no, it was like mid-2000s. And they had all these teenage girls on there who were, like the bad girls, girls gone crazy or some crap like that. And one of the things was, they all wanted to stay virgins. And so they were doing nothing but anal with their boyfriends and stuff. And I was like, that trend never made it to my high school.
Anyway, virginity is a social construct. It doesn't exist. That's my opinion on it. It doesn't exist. It don't. It's something, it's like you said, something made up to keep you from having sex before marriage. That's what it is. It's a social construct that does not exist. It does not matter.
It's almost purely a religious thing.
It really is. It really is. So I say, it don't matter what you've done. Whether you went down on somebody, whether you've had anal, vaginal sex, whatever. Does not matter.
I had a...
Because, to me it's like, if sex isn't penis and vagina, it's, lots of things, then virginity is definitely made up and it's a social construct.
There was a really interesting, kind of semi-similar conversation in the movie Chasing Amy. Mm-hmm. Kevin Smith had some amazing insights in his films, especially his early films about, like, sex and expectations among partners and past history, how it affects your current relationship and stuff. And they got into, Banky Edwards got into it with a woman, Alyssa. She was the lesbian that ended up dating Ben Affleck, which the whole moral of that story was she was just bisexual. But she's at one point in the movie, towards the beginning, when they first find out she's a lesbian, she says that she's going to go fuck this girl. And he was like, what? You said you were going to fuck her. Like, how do women fuck? And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, neither, do you use a strap on? She's like, no, but when we're naked together and we have sex, we fuck. And so they started talking about what constitutes fucking, And, it got to the point where he was like, okay, there needs to be some kind of intercourse or something. And she was like, well, pretty, it was like a whole neat conversation. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But,
I'll just remove that comment.
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
Yeah, I already did.
So yeah, I mean, it is. It's virginity is a goofy subject that really should have zero bearing whatsoever.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
It is. It's a personal thing, and it has different meanings for different people. And like I said, I think it's all fake anyway. But it's up to you to decide whether it's important to you or not, basically.
Okay, so next myth, masturbation is harmful. My God, like I don't know if anybody still believes this. I'm sure somebody does. You know, there was always the thing of the two big ones that I always heard was if you masturbate too much, you'll go blind. And then there was the one where if you masturbate a lot, like you'll grow hair on your palms. I think that was more of a joke, but that had to be rooted somewhere.
Yes, I only ever heard that on television. I never actually heard that from real people.
Yeah.
But I will say everybody shamed it though. Like shamed if you masturbated, that was shameful, and you were a dirty, dirty person.
That was and whenever I was a freshman in high school, that was one of the things. Me and my friends would be sitting around together, and some of the older, like juniors or seniors, would come up and like mess with us. And
Yeah.
you know, one of the go-to talks was, "Hey, you ever jerk off?" And of course, we were all like, "No," you know, knowing that I did it like 3 times before I came to school that morning.
Right.
You know, and but then like I will credit my cousin John with this one. I actually told him at some point while I was a freshman in high school that, I was like, man, people ask me about that all the time. I was like, it's just something, I was like, nobody admits to it. And he was like, I do it. And I was like, you admit to it? He was like, yeah. He was like, matter of fact, I wouldn't trust somebody that didn't masturbate on occasion. And I was like, you know what? That's a damn good way of looking at it. And so from then on, I just owned it. That was probably my first real incident where I decided, you know what? If you own it, they can't fuck with you about it.
That's fair.
And
That is fair. I wonder if it's like that in school now, though.
I think realistically, I think anybody probably 13 and up is probably a lot more open with it now compared.
That's what I was. I mean, probably junior high is still like that, but I legit wonder about high school. Probably not to just like openly to everybody, but I'm sure like within circles.
Yeah.
They're probably open about it.
Yeah, they don't do like
because, and the reason I say that is because like in certain high schools, it's much more accepted to be open with your sexuality.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So you would think that masturbation would be more open, a less taboo topic.
You'd hope so.
You would think so. I don't know. It's iffy because we do live in the Bible Belt.
Okay. The next myth: you can get a sexually transmitted infection or disease from a toilet seat or from someone who looks dirty. Now, the toilet seat, I always heard you could get crabs or pubic lice from a toilet seat.
I got a story about that. Toilet seats, rather.
Okay.
I mean, you see this myth right here. Well, I had a friend who was taking nursing in high school, and I don't forget which class it was, but they had to take swabs on different things and put it in a container and to see what germs grew from it. And somebody swabbed a toilet, a college toilet, and put it in there. And there was not really a stitch of germ that grew in there, because that's how clean they were. One of the nastiest things, a Coke bottle.
Yep, Coke cans as well.
Coke bottle. For a long time, she sanitized her bottles.
Yeah.
Before she did it. The other nastiest thing was somebody coughed in one that was really sick, and it had hair growing on it and everything.
God almighty.
But yeah, so like, obviously that's a myth. They even put it when them germ things and no germs grew from it.
That doesn't necessarily mean all toilets.
No, but it's a college toilet.
Yeah.
You know, you would think those would be kind of gross. Nonetheless, though, you still can't get no STI from a damn toilet seat. That's the.
I've heard.
I remember hearing that in school, and I thought, you're idiots. They even taught us. You know,
That was like
you can't do that.
an old Rodney Carrington stand-up bit, and he was like, "You know, you can get crabs from a toilet seat." He's like, "But you can't convince your girlfriend of that."
That's funny. Well, it's like, it also says from someone who is dirty. Okay, that actually applies to lice as well.
Yeah.
Because lice, they like clean hair. Because it's easy to move in and nest in. They don't like dirty hair or hair with products or coarse hair because they can't move around in it and nest in it. It's the same right here. They can't move around on a dirty person, really.
Welcome Don on Facebook, and also welcome Kevin on Facebook.
Guys.
I had to look at the way Kevin spelled his name because I got my hopes up we might have had a movie director in there.
You know what? I did too. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wait a minute.
I was about to fanboy like crazy at you.
I'll bet.
Oh.
Alright, let's move on to the next one.
Next up, condom. The next myth. We're talking about sexual misconceptions right now. We haven't even made it to our B topic yet.
I know.
But these are all. This is from an article for the Center for Sexuality in Canada. All legit stuff. Granted, this isn't really like a too scientific of an article, but it's helping us through. It's giving us some talking points. Next up is condoms take away the feeling and pleasure of sex. Okay. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, but you're gonna be.
I'm gonna be that guy because I'm speaking from a shit ton of personal experience on this. I've had sex with condoms in the past, but ever since I've had my vasectomy, which is going on 10 years now, I may have worn condoms 3 times in 10 years. And that's not a healthy habit. And also, at the same time, I mean, I do get tested regularly. We've mentioned that several times on the show. But at the same time, after so long with 0 condom use, I personally, this sounds horrible, but I personally have gotten to the point where I have been desensitized. Like, condom use, I don't know if it's just a mental thing or whatever, but not only do I feel a lot less with condoms, but I almost can't even maintain an erection while wearing one. And that's weird. I've tried it because I have had a partner in the past year, that was, wanting condom use. And I was, okay, cool. And it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Literally. And then at that point, you got to sit down and have a real conversation with that person as to what are the avenues we're going to go now.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, that is not a typical thing. That is 37-year-old Lonnie.
That's truly not a typical thing. It's really not.
No, because I see people all the time buying condoms. They use condoms on a regular basis. Like, that's just part of it,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a problem with condoms. I just gotta make sure they're latex free.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gonna be a whole different issue because I'm allergic to latex. So, that's not a thing for me.
Next up, this is a funny one. There's a myth that anal sex is only for gay men. No. I guess I'm assuming...
I mean, here's the thing. I don't really think that's true now. But when we were growing up, absolutely, that's what we were told.
Yeah.
That is what we were told.
It is possible to be a straight man and be pleased anally by your female partner. 100%. Because there's some stuff going on in there where stimulated correctly can be super, super pleasurable to the level, if not more, than just penis stimulation.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they make prostate massagers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of women's G-spot stuff can be used anally for men for prostate. It's damn near the exact same thing. I'm not going to say that's a scientific accuracy, but I've actually done a little bit of reading, and when you're like in the embryonic stage of development, the clitoris and the penis start out as the same thing, and the G-spot and the prostate start out as basically the same thing. And then once you develop into whatever you're going to develop into, it kind of makes its decision in the genetics, and there you go.
Yep.
People are probably like coming into our video like, what the hell are they talking about?
What the hell?
Nothing but anal sex and prostates.
That's funny. Yeah, it it's wanting to try different sexual activities with your partner does not mean anything about your sexual orientation. It just means you enjoy it. Just means you enjoy it.
And here's a funny thing that I've noticed firsthand, like from life experience, is you run into some guys that are like, I would never let my girlfriend use a strap-on on me. And then I'm like, well, I have a girlfriend, and she uses one on me on occasion. And suddenly their tune changes, and they're like, well, yeah, I might give it a shot. Like, having someone who does it, having someone like you who does it already, is a big icebreaker when it comes to being like, okay, I'm a little more comfortable with this now.
Because you never know who's listening, especially, again, we're in the Bible Belt.
Yes, that's a big part of it.
So, you just never know. You never know who you're speaking to that might judge you for certain activities that you do in your bedroom.
Well, there's so many people around here that'll judge.
It's one of those things, if you don't know your audience, you're not really willing to divulge.
There's a reason I waited until I was 37 and both my parents were in the ground before I decided to divulge that I was pansexual.
Bless it, yeah. That's fair.
Most definitely. Okay. Next myth. Pornography accurately portrays sex.
Oh my God.
It does not. Now, it may a little more now, just because a lot of people try to emulate the porn they see.
Yes, that's true. There are certain production companies that strive to make things more realistic.
Oh yeah. Myself included.
Yes, honey, yourself included.
No, be seriously, like when making homemade porn, the last thing I want to do is give it like that pro porn look. The thing, is it that hard? And Randy West said this during his making his Up and Comers series on DVD. Like, I have a few of those; they're fantastic. If you ever get the opportunity to find them, I think they're out of print though. But he said that basically his series was going to be real people having real sex. And he was like, what a novel concept. It's just, he basically just puts a camera on people. A lot of times he's one of them. And is just like, no direction or anything. Just have sex. I'm sure they have some rules beforehand, okay, don't put it in the butt, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like real sex. Just, okay, do it. That is some of the best adult material you can find, in my opinion. Because it's genuine. These people are just getting in there having a good time. And you could tell, it's like, hell yeah. But, for the most part, pornography does not accurately portray sex.
It does not. It does not.
They do it more for looks than anything, and a lot of the positions they do that are good for the camera, they suck because I've tried them before. Just to see.
Just
Like,
see
okay.
if it work.
Yeah, and it's like, no, the orgasm is not going to happen because your hip bone is, crushing my balls or something. I don't know.
Right. Pretty much.
Next, God, okay, we only got 3 more. I didn't want to spend the entire one on our A topic.
I know, but it's alright.
Sex is only good if you have an orgasm.
No, we talked about that.
Yeah, we've already covered that topic.
Yeah. It can be pleasurable without an orgasm. Orgasm does not have to be the ultimate goal. It is for some people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not for some people, and that's okay too.
Hell, sometimes if I'm tired, I'm just happy to get my penis wet,
It'd be that way sometimes.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I didn't orgasm this time, but you know what? There's going to be a next time. I'm just happy that I got to be inside you for a little bit.
There's some people that don't orgasm.
Oh man.
It's not, it's just how it is. And then there's some people who have multiple orgasms in a row.
And like, I think I've told this story. I don't think I've ever told it on the air before, but back in like the early 2000s, I was watching an episode of Real Sex on HBO because that was what Teenage Lonnie did on a Saturday night.
I mean, that's fair.
And they had this show. I guess it was like an adult convention or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they had a show where they had this stage and they had a Sibian, a motor bunny, or, one of the saddles with a little dong on it. And the woman would just sit on it and it would just, the most powerful sex toy on the planet. And they were basically, the people who ran it, it was like this older husband and wife couple. And what they would do is, during the convention, they would be like, hey, if you are a woman and you've never had an orgasm, we believe our machine will bring you to orgasm for the first time. And so they would inevitably have a few volunteers, these women would come up and just be like, look, I've tried everything, I can't orgasm. So they would put them up on stage. They would be clothed, and they would usually have like a skirt on, and they would sit on it, and they would turn it on, they would turn it up a little bit, up a little bit, up a little bit. And meanwhile, there's an audience, a packed audience of about 300 people watching. And they actually showed this happening one time, and this woman, finally, they turned it all the way up, she turned red and flushed, and just orgasmed right there on stage. And they came over with a towel and, put it on her and, helped her up. And there were people in the audience fucking crying and stuff.
Aww,
because it was like such a, monumental experience. And I was like, wow. I didn't appreciate that at the age of like 19 or 20. But
now you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, now I'm like, you know what? That would actually be kind of neat to see. I'm sure the energy in that room was unreal,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Next one. Older adults don't have sex.
I have a story about this too.
I bet you.
Lonnie has
a story about everything, don't you?
Lonnie has a story about everything. Do you want to go ahead, or do you want me to tell this crazy story?
You can go ahead.
Okay, I apparently come from a very sexually active family. I have a great-grandfather who lived to be 100. His wife was, I think, 2 years younger than him. And in the last few years of their lives, they lived with my grandparents. And so when they did, my aunt, my dad's sister, asked my great-grandmother, they were, I think, 96 and 98 at the time. And she went up to her grandmother, she says, hey, Grandma, at what age do men quit wanting sex? And she was like, you'll have to ask somebody older than us. 98 years old and still getting it on a regular basis. I'm like, you know what? I have something to look forward to. I'm sure you'd believe that at this point.
Yeah, I would be inclined to believe that, yes.
But yeah, so thankful I do not take it for granted that I'm 37 and do not have erectile dysfunction problems, because this is the age where people really start getting hit hard by it through different things. And I'll tell you, the first time I have any kind of issue, there's gonna be like some diet and exercise changes happening, because I got to be able to go, 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 go.
It's hilarious. I gotta be able to go, 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 go.
But no, older adults do have sex. Like, hands down, they have it.
Hold on, it says,
Okay.
even if someone is older, they are still sexual beings and should continue to learn and explore their sexuality. That is some solid piece of advice right there, really.
What is funny, and this is actually something that I read not long ago. Apparently, the baby boomer population, is getting up in their 60s and 70s right now. And there is actually a study through the health departments and everything else that the cases of like herpes and several other curable sexually transmitted diseases right now have exploded in number among the boomer population, because they're all getting out and getting laid on a regular basis and not taking any precautions whatsoever.
Of course not. Why would they do some shit like that? Never mind. I'm gonna keep quiet about it. I about said something really ugly about baby boomers. And
Okay, boomer.
we're just gonna be nice. We're gonna be nice. Hello, Maria on Facebook.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. You're on the tail end, but we're not done yet. We've still got a B topic.
And one more on this one.
Oh, and one more myth.
People with disabilities or chronic illness can't have sex. Oh my gosh. This has become like one of my new social justice awareness things.
I've noticed you've been posting a lot of disability stuff on the page lately.
Yeah. I have friends with disabilities, is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to make aware of their issues and this, that, and this. And there's this woman in a wheelchair that I follow. She's called Wheelchair Rapunzel.
Okay, yeah, you share her stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm. And she's out there breaking barriers with people with disabilities being able to have sex and this, that, and this. And so I share her stuff a lot. But they can. They can have sex. They can do lots of things that, not even just sex. They do lots of things that people think they can't. They think because they have a disability that they can't make conscious choices for themselves or be adults or this, that, and this. What?
I have a story.
I'm done talking to you for the rest. Alright. God, my dad had a story for everything, and so do you. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I had a guy I used to hang out with about 5 years ago.
Oh, that sounds about like how he'd start a story, too. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, this was not me. But I had a guy, one of the guys that I actually started UNN with, actually, was notorious for going around, talking a woman up, having sex with her, and then either kicking her out or never talking to her again. So it just so happened that he matched on like Plenty of Fish or something with a lady who was wheelchair bound. And so he goes over to her house. They have sex. He enjoys it. She enjoys it. And so he like starts trying to talk to her after they're done. And she tells him to leave. And she's like, okay, I'm done with you now. You can go. And he was like, what?
Shit. That's what's like, up, though.
The tables have turned, sir.
The tables have turned. Funny.
Oh, well, next up, our B topic, and we've, realistically, we don't have a time limit. I typically try to keep these to an hour, but we'll go over time a little bit, as long as it takes to do this. Our B topic now that we're hopping into is Threeways. And I mean, we could go into
Threesomes.
orgies and group sex and all that stuff, but let's keep it at three ways.
And the reason I suggested this was I had a friend of mine who made a post about threesomes
Okay.
last week. And they had said that they had threesomes. No, they asked their Facebook friend list, hey, who all's had a threesome? And a lot of people commented and said they had, but it wasn't lit. Or it wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And I was like, I've had both experiences. I've had the threesome that went all that great. But I've had the threesome that was amazing. But the people who said that the threesome was amazing, it was basically like 2 people said it was great out of 12 comments.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, meh.
And if I'm not mistaken, both the one that was great and the one that was so or meh was both with me involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if you feel it necessary to point that out, by all means.
Well, I'm just, because
You just want to ask and make sure.
without getting into details or revealing any names or anything, I just wanted to be sure we were on the same
Yeah,
page.
we're on the same page.
Because, yeah, that's true. And I'll tell you, I've been in 2 threesomes with 2 women, and then I've been in another threesome. I'm not going to call it a threesome. This was more like 2 women laying next to each other, and I just went with one and went with the other, back and forth. They never actually, it wasn't really a 3-way, it was just me with 2 women. And,
It was more like they ran a train on you, kind of.
yeah, basically.
In their own way.
And then I've done a couple of threesomes with the same 2 people, but it was another guy and a woman. And to be honest, the one with the guy and the woman, even though, and it was actually just me and him doing her. We never did anything. But that was actually more fun because I actually enjoyed. I guess there was a lot of pressure on me to perform with 2 women, but just having another guy there to pleasure my partner was a super turn on.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best part of any of it. And I will say the one that you're talking about that was really good, that's the number one. Like, to date. But that other one,
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat that one.
The 2 males and the female, that was a close second. And, I mean, hell, it happened twice, like, in the same night, so it was pretty good. But, I mean, it is, like, 3-ways can be great, and it's hard enough to find chemistry between 2 people. Once you add a third person into the mix, it gets super difficult for everybody to mesh well. And
right. That, to me, in my opinion, if you want a really good threesome, it's got to develop organically.
Yep.
You cannot just go unicorn hunting and expect to have a good time. Like, I'm sure there's been cases where it's happened. There's a reason they call it unicorn hunting.
It's rare.
It's very rare, if it even exists.
Yeah.
But when stuff like that develops organically, it's so much more enjoyable. Just because typically you have formed some kind of relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic,
Yeah.
with the person. Or people, rather. And it just kind of happens.
I want to live in a world where we can be partners and have a friend over, whether it be a man or a woman, and we just be sitting around watching a movie and just say, hey, does everybody want to have sex? And then do it. That
Might not
is
be awkward.
Lonnie's perfect world. No expectations, no muddying the waters with bullshit. You know, like, I strive for a world where platonic intercourse is a thing.
Platonic intercourse is a thing now.
Not much.
Mm, it is to a point. It really is.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. People have forgotten. A lot of people have forgotten, especially men. I hate to be this way, but especially men
I agree.
have forgotten what friends with benefits actually is.
Yeah.
They confuse NSA with friends with benefits, which, if you don't know, NSA, no strings attached.
Yeah, that means, hey, you're just there for sex, that's it.
Right.
Friends with benefits is where you hang out, play video games, watch movies, shoot the shit. It's nothing major, but you have sex.
When you want to.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's not even.
No expectations.
And a lot of people have forgotten what that is. You know.
Yep.
If you put that you're okay with that on your dating app, you get all these people who are looking for fun, looking for one night stand, don't want anything serious.
Be discreet.
Just want to hook up.
That whole be
I'm
discreet
in town.
thing.
Oh, be discreet is a red flag for me.
Yeah, that was 100%. I've got a partner that don't need to know about you.
Yep.
That's really
It's
big
that,
on Grindr.
Or, you know, I think that my ego is more important than someone finding out if I do this shit.
Yeah.
You know, top shit. And I ain't about that either. But that's the key to threesomes, though. Really. Is it has to develop organically, y'all.
Yep.
It does. If you just meet somebody random, don't expect much of it. Like, that's all I got to say.
You might get lucky, but it's like a freaking roulette wheel. There's only going to
If you
be
get
one
drunk
winning
with your
spot.
partner at a club and you take somebody home, it might be hot as ever, but more than likely it's probably not.
The big thing with threesomes, and I'm sorry, you can help it. Anybody can help it. But the big thing with threesomes I see where they fall apart is two of the people get really into each other and leave the third person almost out, if not completely. And then it turns into a problem.
Yeah.
You can't, I don't give a shit how much you're in the heat of the moment. You cannot forget the other partner when you're with the other one.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, because, number one, that's fucking rude.
It is rude.
It's so rude. Like,
it's rude as fuck. And then 9 times out of 10, it's the third wheel.
yeah.
You know, it's the unicorn that gets left out.
Hey, here.
Alright, I agree. As a unicorn, I've always found dating the couple is best. I had to turn down a couple once because I felt more attachment to one of the pair than the other. Communication and honesty is most important. Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I'm not opposed to dating a couple.
Yeah.
I'm really not. But, like, again, it's got to develop organically. Like, it's got to. Like, I don't have your profile together. Don't do that shit. You can't expect someone to fall for both of y'all at the same time and date y'all at the same time.
Yeah.
And all that. It's just...
Like, I mean, I'll be completely honest. Whenever we opened up into polyamory, like, my big thing was, hey, we got to find, that other partner.
Never knew how rare I was. Now I can't find a new me to add in. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is. It is rare. There are some people who love to be the unicorn, and that's fine. If you're a consenting adult and you're allowed to have those feelings.
Yep.
I don't mind if I'm being respected.
You don't want to be an object for a couple. You don't want to be a play toy.
Do not. Absolutely do not.
And that's the thing. A lot of the couples are like,
Or
okay,
at least if you're a couple being honest about it.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of couples that ain't honest about it. They're not. They're sneaky, you know.
That there's a lot of ground rules for the third, but no rules for the couple that was initially
the couple
there.
privilege is real.
Yeah,
It's big real.
that's a major issue. But let's see. I think we just about covered all of our three-way stuff. I know.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a short topic.
Yeah, and that was why I just went
said
ahead
it
and
was
went
a big
with it.
topic because, you know, we can only drive into the ground communication and be honest and upfront with your intentions.
That's always the number one.
With everything.
Communication is the number one for every single thing that we talk about. I almost feel like we need to mention it every time we're on.
As a pan poly, I'm happy to find anyone that would mesh well with my family. Of course, we have kids, and that adds into it for us, and a long-term gig. It's hard when you're established like you and your husband are, and kids.
Oh, well, dang,
To
I'll just
find
have to
somebody
make a
to
drive
mesh
over to
in.
where they're at. And if y'all need somebody to service y'all both, just let me take a week off work, maybe next summer.
I'll be sure to take off at the same time. But as far as long term, though,
Yeah.
she's right. And we've had that issue. We've had that issue. Even not even dating as a couple, we've had that issue. Lonnie's had girlfriends that felt real intimidated by our relationship.
That is the most common thing that I run
Because
into with new partners.
We've been together for so long.
Yeah.
And we live together, and
We do content like this together.
yeah.
We do all kinds of stuff
And
together.
they're like, oh, we're just, y'all's relationship is so strong. Well, yeah, but it really has no bearing on y'all's. I mean.
Yeah, you remember I had a relationship without naming any names right towards the end of last year, and that was kind of what did it in.
Yeah.
Was the fact that you and I are so close, and they were like, I just can't get past that. They always feel like the
They're
third wheel or
invaded
the
in on our territory, my territory, really.
yeah.
And and I'm like not like that at all. That's just it. Like I give space, and our schedules work out great to where your partner's time is not interfered with ours. So I'll get it on the schedule.
That's the thing. Waiting for what is right and not rushing something.
That's solid advice, though.
Yeah.
It is. It is solid advice. You definitely need to not rush something and wait for what is right and what feels right. And that definitely applies to threesomes. Don't just do it because you want to have a threesome. Do it if it feels right.
It's funny because her mentioning pan poly. I'm pansexual, which means I have literally no limits as to the genders and orientations that I will date. I'm polyamorous, so I have no strings holding me down as to who I can date. I can have as many partners as I want. And just, if whenever I first got into that, and if, looking at that on paper, you would think that I would be swimming in pussy and dick.
That's not the fucking case.
Nope, that is not the case. That is
Welcome
not
to my world, is all I can say.
It's not the oversexed utopia that you think it is. It's like a lot of people are like, "Man, you're living the dream." I'm like, "Yeah, I have a couple of partners on occasion, but honest to God, you're the only person I've been with in well over a month." Like I've had dates here and there, different partners.
Reminds me of that meme where it shows the guy from the Pawn Stars. Best I can do is an accidental Tinder match.
Yeah. That's what and that's another thing. When you're on like dating sites like Tinder or Bumble or OkCupid or anything. I have that happen all the time. Somebody will match with me, and it's a woman, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're really awesome," and this and that. And I'm like, okay, first message to you, I have to clarify. It says it plain as day in the first sentence of all my dating profiles. I'm polyamorous. I have a girlfriend I live with, but I'm completely open to dating you and us making something work. So what do you say? And then it's like, unmatch and block. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then, I did have that one a few months ago that was like, hey, I'm willing to date for a little while, but I've also got this other guy that if me and him could make something work monogamously, that's going to be who I go with. And I'm like, I'm not going to be a fucking experiment for you. See you later.
All right. It says it's up to the pair to be reassuring, but also the unicorn to be confident and fully emotionally prepared for it. Too many people want it, but are too insecure. And that's fair. You do have to be pretty sure of yourself to go into that situation.
Yeah.
You kind of can't go in naive about it, but also the couple needs to be upfront about it too. You get these couples that get on these dating apps, oh, we just want somebody to spoil and this, that, and this, and they're full of shit. But, so are a lot of men that say that too. Like, when I see that in a man's profile, it's an immediate red flag. You want to spoil me? No, you want me to sit at home and do everything you say. That's not a thing for me.
You don't need that independence.
Right. But Sharon's right, though. You gotta, if you're gonna be a unicorn and own it, you've got to be confident and emotionally prepared for what might happen.
I believe that's probably it for tonight.
Mm-hmm. We'll end on that note.
I do want to kind of let everybody know what we've got going on through the week. I'm going to be trying my best to get on during the day and play some video games. I just hit level 200 in Fortnite, so we are at the point where I might play some other games. Just to kind of break it up. I know people are kind of getting burnt out on Fortnite. I'm not, but I also recognize that, hey, I've played nothing but Fortnite for a while. Might be time to dust Skyrim off or something, and maybe play a little bit. We've still got like some multiplayer stuff I'd like to play at some point, stuff like that. That might happen on the weekend. Walking Dead Season 11 has finally started. We've already recorded the review. I'm probably going to put it out tomorrow because I forgot to yesterday.
We did not record a review on that.
What did we record a review on?
I was sick. We watched it, but we didn't record it.
I could have swore we've recorded something.
Marvel. What if?
Okay, so we recorded a what if review and didn't put it out. That's what I meant to. God, I'm really late on that. God, that came out Wednesday. But yeah, what if every week, and it really just depends on what day I'm off when we post it. We're going to be doing some Walking Dead reviews, weekly or daily, whenever I get around to it, video game streams. And I feel like there's one more thing. Rick and Morty's coming September 5th.
Yeah, that's got a minute.
So in the first day or two after that, we'll be doing some Rick and Morty. So, meanwhile, just keep an eye out because we're doing this every week. Roll for Intimacy. Okay, so next week is going to be dating apps.
Dating apps, etiquette.
Yep.
Horror stories. If you got a bad one, send it to us. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, if you have a dating horror story, and God knows I've got a few.
Yeah.
We'll probably hang out.
What if you got a good one?
Huh?
Or if you got a good one? If you got a good dating story.
I got one that got printed in the local paper a few years ago.
That was a bad one. I'm talking about if you had a good experience with a dating app. Please let us know. You might be the unicorn that actually had a good experience with a dating app. Oh.
Yeah, I had a bad experience on Super Bowl night. I can't remember
Sharon
what year it
said,
was.
You want a bad one? I met my husband on one. That's not a bad one. That's a good one.
That's great.
I met Lonnie on Facebook through a mutual friend.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm sure we'll have to tell that story.
Yeah, we'll save that story for next time.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like there's all kinds of fun little details in that story. Fun stuff.
Bye,
Okay,
guys.
so we are going to go ahead and hop off. That is it. God, we almost went an hour and a half tonight. It's just fun. I love doing these things. These things are so much fun. If we could like get a big group of people to hop on board, it would really be neat.
Oh, well, Sharon kept it going for us.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Sharon.
Happy birthday to Sharon.
Yep. If you want nudes for your birthday, just let me know. And,
Shit, don't threaten her with a good time.
yeah.
She'll be like,
If you would like a free month to my OnlyFans, just let me know.
Well, I don't have an OnlyFans, but you know what?
I do.
I'll send you a boob pic anyway. It don't matter to me.
Love those nipples. All right. Anyway.
Always a pleasure to join ya.
All right. We'll see y'all next time. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
And we are Untitled Learn Network. This has been the latest episode of Roll for Intimacy, live on Untitled Learn Network. We talked tonight about sexual misconceptions and myths and Threeways. We will see y'all next time. Everybody have a good rest of the weekend. And, wait, this is Monday.
No, I wished it was the weekend.
It would be neat, wouldn't it? Okay, this is Monday, so it's not a weekend. If you're watching the replay of it on a Friday, then yeah, have a good rest of the weekend. Otherwise, have a good rest of the night.
Bye.
I'm trying to give some kind of advice, friendly advice on the way out. Like,
Spay and neuter your pets. Help control the pet population.
I wish you all the best sex. So, there we go. That's probably the best thing you can wish somebody. I don't want to go too far and wish them a lot of money. So, we'll see y'all.